You know, it's only recently that I realized how important body positivity is, how important loving yourself is. I always thought it was kind of like this separate thing that we all needed to work on at some point of our lives instead of it being like the main thing. And I want to explain exactly how I came to that conclusion. So I'm not planning on editing this video. I'm just going to talk. I'm just going to share my experiences with you. And I want to share a couple of tips that I've learned along the way that's helped me on my self-love journey. So first and foremost, this is a trigger warning for those of you that don't want to hear about essaying or anything related to assault or anything like that. Then you want to go ahead and just click off this video right now, because I am bringing that up because it is part of my story and it's important. I want to talk about it. So I would say my story started with this, or at least my self-love journey began with my mom. My mom was someone who didn't really say anything negative about herself, but she would say it about others. And I would always wonder why she would say negative things about other people and the way that they looked, even if they looked very similar to herself. So it just didn't really make much sense to me, even as a kid, even as a young child. So it began with my mom and how she saw herself. Much like all of us, we mirror our parents. Luckily, I had never been someone to look at someone else and talk about their looks. But I have talked about myself. And the way that my mom treated her body is what I saw over everything. So over everything she said, I saw the way she treated her body. I saw the struggles that she had. And it eventually, I ended up marrying that. So again, it started with my mom, and then in high school, I would say actually my entire life, I have had very large breasts, right? I skipped the training bra. There was no training bra for me. It's always been straight to the bra. So I was a C cup in 5th grade. And I remember thinking, like, this isn't normal. This is kind of strange that my boobs are bigger than my teachers. This isn't normal at all, but it'll be all right. And then I grew up, or slowly started growing up, and then I noticed that I was attracting attention from men, grown men, yeah. So that had me starting to cover myself more and trying to hide my chest, try to hide my body because I didn't look my age. And I would say the major event for me was when I was in high school. And for those of you that are, just want to kind of get to the tips, I completely understand. But I'm telling you right now, listening to this story is going to help you understand why it's important to love yourself and why it's important to have body positivity. Because me telling my story, I promise you're going to resonate with it. You never know, at least. So I'm in high school and I'm in between classes and everything, and walking around like we always do. And there was always this group of guys, maybe 5 or 6 of them, that kind of hung out together, and they would always somehow find me in the hallway and they would say certain things that were very sexual to me. So it was harassment, basically. I know that now. And the harassment turned into light touching whenever I passed them. And then that turned into one of the guys pushing me against the wall. 2 times he did this, pushing me against the wall and groping, literally groping my chest. So that was the sexual assault that I endured. At the time, unfortunately, I was so young and so unaware, I didn't consider it sexual assault. So it actually took me a little bit to say something. I would say, after the second time he did it, I think it took me a week to get the courage to go tell my assistant principal. And I commend this guy. He's an amazing guy. He was on it. The second I said something to him, he was just like, absolutely not. That's not okay. Thank you for telling me. And that kid, the one that touched me, I never saw him again because he was expelled. So, they got what they needed. And the other guys never did anything about it. Or I'm sorry, the other guys never approached me ever again. So I don't know what happened with them, but I never saw them again either. And so what I learned from that situation was, first of all, I'm 34 years old now. That happened when I was about 15 or 16 years old. It wasn't until last week that I realized that was something that I'd pushed down in my subconscious, something that I purposely did not want to remember. And did I realize that that has been the pinnacle of my self-love journey? That was a moment in my life that I decided that I needed to cover myself up, that I needed to judge myself so harshly for just being me, for just looking how I looked, literally being born this way. And basically hold back from, what am I saying here? I don't know, hold myself back from feeling beautiful. I started covering myself up more, started wearing baggier clothes. I dressed like a boy. I started hanging out with the LGBT community more because I looked like I was part of the LGBT community. And I felt at home there because of the acceptance that I got from them. I didn't feel like I was being sexualized. I didn't feel like I was being judged for my body. I was able to, the group of people that I started hanging around were people that were also judged for the way that they looked. We all had colored hair and piercings and tattoos, and those are the people that I hung around because of the lack of acceptance and the lack of, the lack of love that I had for myself. And I'm so happy for them too, because they were a big source of comfort for me. I love that. I love that I had a group of people that I can go to, and I know some people don't get that opportunity. So I tell my story because loving yourself isn't just looking in the mirror and saying, I love who I am. It's being able to say that every version of me that has ever existed, everything that I've ever witnessed, experienced, I appreciate that because it made me who I am today. And that moment, that event that happened to me in high school, I completely forgot about it until just last week, and I'm 34 years old. That means that it's time for me to start healing through it. And in order for me to heal, in order for anyone to heal from anything, you got to talk about it. You got to tell your story. Because in telling your story, that's when you start getting the downloads that you need, the clarity that you need. Because the truth isn't what you've created in your mind after the event happened, after the experience happened. The truth is basically the awareness, the true awareness. This is the event. This is the story that you're telling. What do you want to believe from that story? What is your truth? I believe that I was assaulted, and no matter what, I don't care how old those boys were, how old I was, they were wrong. They should not have touched me. They were wrong, and that's it. That's it. And them doing that changed my mindset. And now I get the opportunity to change it back. To create a more loving avatar of myself, because I can. Because it's my responsibility to learn who I am. Now, having gone through that. So going back to how self-love is a part of everyone's journey, and it's not separate from the human experience at all. It's just part of it. I think some of us look at ourselves and we compare ourselves to others. And there's that one saying where you're in your home and you're looking out the window at your neighbor, but you really should be looking in the mirror. And I love that saying because I don't remember who quotes it, by the way. But I love it because it's the truth. A lot of the times we're always looking out the window. We're on social media scrolling and comparing ourselves to others, but not knowing that the people posting this content don't like themselves either. They don't love themselves. And there's another saying, comparison is the thief of joy. It's another one. Again, I don't remember who quotes it. Maybe I'll put that in the description. But comparison is the thief of joy. Because we are literally here to be our authentic selves. And if we're not being our authentic selves, then we are robbing ourselves of love, of joy, of happiness. We are robbing ourselves of all of that. I can't even imagine reincarnating into a body to live 60 or so years. 60 or so years of hating myself, of never truly seeing who I am and who I'm meant to be because of my experiences. That's so unfair. And I know if you're watching this video, if you're still watching this video, you don't want to do that either.